Good.
Hey friends, it's me, Lola,
And I'm Dante.
and I was not going to come on and do a live today. I haven't done a live in a good little minute, but something started burning on me, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this live. I've got to come on and tell you all something that is stopping you because I don't want your efforts in life to be thwarted by anything, including yourself. I don't want your efforts in life, the contributions that you can make to the world, to your community, to your workplace, to the business you create, whatever you do, your family. I don't want it to be stopped because of your own limiting beliefs or behaviors. Now, I know you probably heard before that, there are these limiting beliefs and behaviors that we have, but specifically, I'm going to talk about one today that I can almost guarantee is really, really stopping you. It's something that I used to do. And the moment that I stopped doing it and really, really started investing in me, like things just took off. It took off to the point that the valuable content that I create to help equip and inspire people to be their best selves spiritually, creatively, and socially is getting in front of millions of people every day. It's getting in front of millions of people every month to the tune of 8.5 million to date.
Wow. I'm like really excited because I
Did
don't
I
know.
let you introduce yourself or
Yeah,
did I just start talking?
no, I said my name in the middle of it. You're so silly. But I'm super curious about what you're going to say because I don't know exactly.
You don't know?
Nope.
I know because I was sitting down and my mind is always working and I don't feel like super great right now. You know that. But those of you all that are on here listening, you may not know it. But I don't feel super great. And even though my body like is like, fam, you're not doing nothing. Like for a couple of days, you're about to just lay out. That's what's really about to happen. You're very hopeful. You think that you're gonna be flexing every day doing something, but I'm gonna lay you out. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, even though my body is not feeling great, like my mind is still like it's still working. And even when I lay down to rest, like my mind is always thinking, thoughts are always going, which is why I actually like to be alone. Do they know that?
No, they don't know that.
Maybe
I
you
know
can
that.
tell them while we're waiting on some people to come in the room. And make sure you're sharing this with people if you're on here listening.
Okay, so when Lola says she likes to be alone, she's not even joking. She likes just that peace and quiet, that ability or that chance to really get into her zone. And as she's in her zone, so much creative things happen, and you would just be surprised how she'll be in the middle of a thought and something will pop up and distract or throw you off. So when Lola says she likes to be alone, it just gives her time for her to get in that zone, and her mind is nonstop working.
Yeah,
I
because I
mean,
think I've like interrupted you during the day and I'm like, hey, I got something I gotta tell you. Like, and it can't wait. And then I just grab your phone and
mhm.
I'll like turn the voice memo on because I'm like, something is about to come out. Like, and we need to record this. And then sometimes we'll end up taking that and repurposing the content for a podcast to
Yep,
where you'll convert the file
yep.
and we'll do maybe some minimal edits on it
Hmm.
and throw it up on the podcast and keep it moving. So for anybody that's wanting the podcast and you're like, man, I need a mic, I need an interface, I need this and I need that. If you don't pick up that phone and record, like, and hit that record button, you can use that and keep it moving. But yes, I love being alone. Sometimes I'm like a data processor.
That's good.
I just pull information in all the time. And I've learned that my value, one of my greatest values is being able to take information, pull it in, understand it, and then filter it out.
Hmm.
And I'm like, everybody can't do that.
That's
Some
true.
people just have information, they have knowledge, but they limit themselves because they can't share it or help anybody else with it. Or when they try to teach, they're terrible teachers. And it's like, no, sit down. But anyways, I've gone on off into a totally different subject, but I was saying all of that to say that I love being alone. And even though I'm not feeling super great, my mind is still working because this is what my mind does. It just thinks. So as I'm sitting here, this thought hits my head. And the thought is this, I just posted it on social media. It says, stop expecting the people you help to help you. It's blocking you from seeing opportunities that are rising around you from others. And when I had that thought, it made me think about a few things that have been on my mind lately. Things that are related, but they're different, but all of them are related because they limit you. So when it comes to you growing personally, when it comes to you growing in your business, when it comes to you growing and moving up in the ladder at your job, in the corporate ladder, the structure that you have at your job or whatever, when it comes to you growing on social media, these same limiting behaviors can stop you. And one of those limiting behaviors is expecting people that you've helped to be the ones that are going to come and help you, that are going to be the ones that come and kickstart you.
That's true.
And then another thing is trying to show up in front of the people that ignored you. Okay. Trying to show up in front of the people that you feel like should pay you some attention. Like, this stuff will stop you. Here is my example. I don't know anyone in my network that uses Pinterest. Well, excuse me, I know a few people in my network that use Pinterest. But when I started using Pinterest, I absolutely did not know them. And some of the people that I know now that use Pinterest, they use it because I've told them about it. But I'm over on Pinterest and I set up an account and I'm just pinning my interests. Some girl at my old job told me about it. And I started pinning my interests on Pinterest, hence the name Pinterest, right? And my daughter and I started creating boards on Pinterest, because on Pinterest, you have boards which are collections of things that you're interested in, and they're specific to a certain theme or topic. Okay. So me and my daughter would create boards, and these boards that we had were really like a lot of fashion stuff, clothing, outfits. We would put together outfits. She would put together outfits. And I ended up switching my Pinterest profile to like a business profile, so I could see I could see how many monthly viewers I had and see that kind of stuff. But I wasn't really using Pinterest. You know, I'm over on Instagram posting stuff to share the Smoking Profit. I'm over on Facebook posting stuff to share the Smoking Profit. I'm trying to do something on YouTube, but I ain't really doing nothing. You know, YouTube is showing me no love. Still don't to this day, but I'm gonna rebrand that and restructure and work it out. That's one of my goals, but not right now because I got too much stuff I'm doing. But anyways, these are those thoughts, you know, thoughts just running and just going and having their way. But anyways, I'm over on Pinterest, not really doing too much of nothing. And then I noticed that I'm like, wow, 5,000 people have come past this page every month. That's interesting. Then I'm like, wow, 10,000 people come past this page. Perhaps I should pay Pinterest some attention. That's what I said. I was like, babe, do you see this? That, you know, do you remember when I started talking to you about Pinterest? It was like a few years ago. I even remember we were in Florida and I was talking to someone else about it. Like, hey, Pinterest is kind of slept on and underrated, but I'm over there and I don't really be doing anything. And people are coming to my page. And so I was like, let me get more intentional about just posting stuff. So at first I was posting like the stuff that me and my daughter like, which is like the clothes and the fashion boards and us putting together outfits and stuff. And then one of the apps that I use to like create these fashion boards.
I remember that one.
They went away and I was so angry. But so that killed that whole idea. But it worked out for me because, to be honest with you, my thing is not fashion.
No.
You know, my thing is inspiration. It's actionable inspiration. So I educate and inspire people through my platform. That's my thing. So from there, I just started posting more of my original content, just creating stuff. And then I was like, oh, we've reached 20,000. I was like, let's see if we can keep driving this number up. And then it hit 80,000. Yeah. Then we hit 100,000. I'm like, this is interesting. And then I said, even though we're getting in front of this broader audience with, you know, 100,000 people per month, I said our follower count is still Low. And me and one of my friends, he's amazing. His name is Dion Howard. Him and his business partner Terrell have a YouTube channel that is massive. They have like so many followers. They have built up an audience. Like they are awesome influencers. And Dion's so humble, like he flies under the radar, so you won't see him talking about this stuff unless I pull it out of him.
Exactly.
But I want to try to get him on the podcast. We talked about it. But anyways, their YouTube channel is Rel and Dio TV. Go and check it out. Go and find them on Instagram. They got some incredible content, and you can learn a lot from looking at what they're doing. So Dion and I were talking about it, and he said, yeah, the difference in the people that visit your page and the people that are following you shows that it's getting even more difficult to get followers. And I was like, yeah, that's very interesting. So we just kept posting content to Pinterest, and the Lord was telling me, like, I think this was maybe about 1.5 or 2 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He was telling me, I'm going to put my weight behind your work. I'm going to take my weight, my glory, and put it behind your work, the work that you're doing, because you have been diligently doing this, and you've been doing the stuff that I've been telling you to do. Like the little things that seem like they are little nuances, they don't matter. You've been going back and doing those things. And when I tell you, our Pinterest, it just kept flying up. Like it was like jumping, and it was like at 500,000. And then it hit 1 million monthly viewers. But this was the biggest thing. It hit 1 million monthly viewers with less than 100 followers. Yeah. It didn't even make no sense, y'all. Like it made no sense. And it reminded me of something that this amazing, beautiful life coach, this soul on Facebook, she's on Instagram too. Her name is Marcine Simpson. Let me pull her up. But she used to always come in my inbox and encourage me with the scripture from Isaiah that talks about how a little one would just do so much. And she's like, you're a little one, but the Lord is going to do it. Oh, I'm about to cry. Because like she was just so encouraging. So please follow her and make sure you go and like shout her out. She's an amazing person. But her name is Marcine Simpson, and she is a Christian life coach. And so I'm missing all these comments. Do you want to answer? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you all. I haven't been paying attention to the comments.
No, I apologize. And for whoever asked the question about their channel name is Rel and Dio TV. And I think it's on all platforms, right?
Yeah, you can. It's on YouTube. YouTube. They're very big on YouTube, but you can go in and find them on like Instagram and follow their page there too. So I'm going to try to drop Marcine's information in the comments. Oh. Were there any other questions?
Nope, no other questions, but blessings, Sonia Green. We see you are on, and also Tamika Myers. Thank you so much for listening.
And whoever else is on. Sometimes we can't always see your names because of the app that we're using. But the scripture is from Isaiah chapter 60, verses 22. And the New International Version, because it's the first one I see on BibleHub.com, is the one I'm going to read. It says, the least of you will become 1,000, the smallest a mighty nation. I'm the Lord. In its time, I will do this swiftly. But this lady, like, she didn't try to come in my comments and, be like, thus saith the Lord, I prophesieth to you. I said, I added that prophesieth to you. Sounded like she was spitting all over the keys as she was typing. She didn't do any of that. Like she would come in my inbox and she would encourage me like, hey, like boom, boom, boom. This is what I hear, and she would sometimes get under my comments and say, keep going. Oh my gosh. Having people like that is just so incredible. She's just a beautiful, beautiful soul. But back to this, so the Lord ended up putting his weight behind our work. And when he put his weight behind our work, we hit 1 million monthly views and we had less than 100 followers. Yeah. And now we're still growing. So I think we're at 4.5 thousand followers. Yep. And we have to date, we have 8.5 million monthly viewers. So this is like millions of people that are coming to our page and seeing our content on Pinterest. And if you're wondering like what my Pinterest page is, it's the smoking. No, it's not. Sorry. It's Lola Kabaya. And you can go over there and find it. Now, when we think about that level of exposure, in the large scheme of things, it's a lot, but then it's really not. And do you want, this is your part, babe.
Yeah.
You looking at me like, and I'm like, no, this is your part. Go ahead and take this over.
Okay, because we were actually, Lola and I were talking about it. And once we were looking at it, we were like, man, how much of the percentage of the population is it? And we got to remember that it's 7 billion people in the world. So we did the math, 8.5 divided by 7 million, and it ended up being less.
No, 7. You said 7 million. 7 billion.
Oh, 7 billion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said 7 billion the first time, but then the second time you repeated it, you said million. That's okay.
So 8.5 million divided by 7 billion. It ends up being less than 1%, which is it's crazy. But just imagine the size and scope of 8.5
and it's like way less than 1% too. Yeah. It was like 0.111.
No, it was like 0.0011.
Okay, sorry.
So we didn't even get a 0.1% yet.
Right.
But just think about that, 8.5 million people, just the scale. Because to us, that's a huge amount. But to the world, it's just like, oh.
What?
I mean, just imagine.
Yeah. And the reason I'm telling you that is because when you are producing something, whatever you're trying to grow, you want it to have exposure.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to, and you want to hit these numbers where it's millions of people seeing your stuff, because exactly. As we just pointed out, in the grand scheme of things, in our huge population, even if your content is getting in front of millions of people, like, you're still only hitting a portion of the world. Okay. Now, I'm done with that whole spill and all of that. Let me get back to these limiting behaviors. The only reason we shared that story with you is to let you know that I stopped looking at it like I expect the people I help to help me. I stopped looking at it like, I expect to do things in this normal way and for it to happen. And I just allowed things to unfold organically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just allowed them to unfold. Okay, God, I took notice. I see you. Now what you want me to do with it? Okay, well, let me go and do this. And over time, like, it worked. And the content that we share on Pinterest, most of that stuff is my original content.
Exactly.
So there's 2 types of content. There's created content, and then there's curated content.
Mm-hmm.
Created content is going to be content that you produce on your own, or if you have a team and organization, it's produced internally within your organization. Okay, that's created content. And then you have curated content. Curated content is content that you gather from other trusted sources that is relevant to your industry and whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is curated content. You need to be putting a mix of both types of content on your pages. But when I say most of the stuff on our Pinterest is created, it's either my stuff,
yep,
or I've gone in and taken something and designed a graphic or a video pin and published it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. But back to these limiting thoughts and these limited behaviors, I want to read a portion of a book to you. If anyone has anything to say, go ahead and drop it in now. This book is something that I read in 2017. I love reading.
Yes, she does.
Which you can kind of guess that.
Library.
Because I like to be alone. Yep. Shout out to my husband. He built. Go ahead. You gonna tell him?
Oh.
Why you
want to talk about how impulsive Lola is? So
Did you just say that?
Oh yeah, I sure did.
But the funny thing is that I'm impulsive and spontaneous, but I'm also a planner. Like, facts. Which is a weird dynamic to have.
I'd be throwing you off some days.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, throwing me off. Let me be correct. So we were looking at all of the books that we have in our house, and we were like, okay, well, we need to figure out what to do with it. And then suddenly Lola says, let's just make a bookshelf. Let's just pick it up right here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hold on. We want to do a bookshelf. It's like, yeah. So we can just figure out all the stuff and we can grab it right now.
I was like, it's not going to be hard. Like, and so I think we did that on New Year's Eve. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We went into the new year with my library in place, and I pulled out all of the books.
All of them.
Yeah. And it's amazing. And then we still need a few more.
Yeah.
You still got to build something else for me, but.
I love them projects, but that's just
Do
how
you really love those
I
projects?
do. I do.
Okay.
I enjoy them because it gives me a chance to really work with hands and do stuff that I haven't been able to do in a while. So it's like, okay, cool, let me do that. But just like that, because Lola loves to read, we have a library built for her, and we're probably gonna have to increase it
Oh yes.
because she's already talked about how many more books she's gonna
Listen, we've already talked about like when we start doing our other stuff and like actually doing some heavy building and lifting that I want a legit library in the house. And we've looked at that, and I'm serious. I wasn't playing. I want a library in the house, like legit.
There's no
where you can sit down in there, get your book.
I know for a fact
where it says "Shut up, don't be loud." You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the library. Seriously. So I want to read this portion of this book that I read in 2017. And you're like, how do you know when you read it? Because I told you that I just record and collect information. So I write things down and remember a whole bunch and all of that good stuff. Anyways, this book is The Defining Decade: Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most of Them Now. Before you check out and say, I'm not 20, listen to what I'm about to tell you. This is good, and it's going to help you grow your social media presence. It's going to help you grow your business, and it can also help you in your career and even like your personal development. And I promise you that after I read it, I will explain how it's going to help you. This book is by Meg Jay. She's a doctor. She has her PhD and all that good stuff. All right, so here we go. Dr. Meg Jay. And boom, let's start. A few summers ago, a big box showed up at my house. The return address on the label was a major publishing house in New York City. The box was addressed to me. I was prepping 2 courses for the fall and had ordered some textbooks to look over. But when I opened the box, I found not textbooks, but about 100 paperback books. Some fiction, some nonfiction, some academic, some popular. The invoice inside listed the name of an editor. I put the box of books in the middle of my dining room table, and friends who came to the house would ask about it. How did I find time to do so much reading? Had I lost my mind? No one found my explanation of it came in the mail and I don't know why. Very satisfying. After some time, I made an attempt to follow up. I emailed the editor on the invoice to let her know I might have a box intended for her. She discovered the books were sent to me in error, but said to enjoy them. I thanked her and we exchanged a couple of emails about choosing textbooks. Some months later, she asked if I would be interested in writing an instructor's guide for a book she was editing. I said sure. At the next barbecue at my home, the big box of books was still on the dining room table. I told friends to please take home whatever titles looked appealing. It made a good story. About a year after the box of books arrived, I started to want to write a book of my own. My private practice and classes were filled with 20 somethings who sincerely wanted and needed help moving forward. I envisioned a book that pulled together what I knew about the 20s from teaching and research and clinical work. A book 20 somethings anywhere could read. I borrowed a sample book proposal from a distant colleague and went to work on the project in my spare hours. When I finished the proposal, I asked the editor whose books I had accidentally received if she would give me her impressions. Do you hear that? Okay. She read it and quickly introduced me to interested parties. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Soon the book had a publisher. I had never met the editor with the box of books or the publisher who ultimately acquired my book. I had only once met the colleague whose proposal I used as a model. No one had any reason to give me preferential treatment, and business is business, so no one did. This book, like most things in adulthood, came to be because of what I called The strength of weak ties. And I'll explain the strength of weak ties in a moment. You all have probably heard me talk about it before. But a note that I wrote here in the book as I read this was, editor she'd never met changed her life.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. The editor she'd never met changed her life, which goes back to my statement. Stop looking for the people that you've helped to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Stop expecting the people that you've helped to help you. Stop trying to show up in front of people that have ignored you. Okay. Stop doing that, because it's going to cause you to miss out on the opportunities that are buzzing around you. Okay. Opportunities like this lady had. Someone she had never met.
Yeah.
Someone she had never met. She said, hey, can you look at this book and give me your impressions? The lady read it and connected her to someone who published her freaking book.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's an amazing story. I love it.
Go ahead and share your thoughts. I'm going to type the title of the book in there.
Okay. I just love every part of the story is amazing to me. The fact is, she literally got the books by accident. It wasn't meant for her, but she took them. She said, okay, cool. And then she reached out to the editor and said, hey, I have your books. Literally just a small correspondence. I have your books. Oh, I'm sorry, I sent that to you by accident. A few other emails. And then she had an inspiration to write her own book. And because she remembered the situation with the editor, she reached out to her and said, hey, do you think you can look at this? I love it, because it goes into what you were saying about how stop looking for, people you've helped to help you, but also because this person she didn't know, never really met her in life, but this person helped change her life.
And what she referred to, that was a good summation, babe, and your thoughts. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sorry, I was moving so fast I didn't even acknowledge it, but I wanted to do that because I want you to hear that, and then I want people to hear that. I don't want them to think that, oh man, she just bulldozes over people's emotions. But the reality is sometimes my mind is moving and I don't acknowledge little human things. So I have to be very intentional about that. Here's a funny story. Someone that I was talking to several years ago, not in a romantic way, but just talking to in general, I was always very intentional with humanizing our conversation and being attentive to their emotional needs and stuff. And they were like, have you been in an abusive situation before? Because you act like an abused person. I'm like, no, I just know that I get really zoned out when it comes to moving to solutions and talking about things in a very pragmatic way, that I will act like a robot and not emotionally connect with people. So I have to be intentional about doing that. Because emotional connections are so important. And, I had to learn that the hard way and was forced to take a course on emotional intelligence at work over 10 years ago. And it was like, fam, your emotional intelligence levels are trash. They're trash. But shout out to my leader that made me do that. Because it really, really helped me. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at the scenario of how trash they were. Enough for your leader to be like, okay, come here real quick, Lola. I have a course for you. I just need you
I need you to do this.
Sit down and take. There's a video. You should watch it.
Oh yeah, and it didn't just happen all overnight after I took the course. It was a process.
Oh yeah.
Where it was just like, okay, one layer comes off. Now you got to deal with this next layer. You're like, dang, did I get all of it? And they're like, no. So I'm just super intentional about doing that now. But back to this point, the strength of weak ties is a social theory, and it's was introduced by this guy, Mark Granovetter. And if I don't remember everything correctly, I haven't read this in years, but Mark Granovetter. And it's basically this thing that the connections that we have that are our most intimate connections are with people that are similar to us. They're very similar to us, and the networks that they have are very similar to our own.
Yep.
So you're likely to know the same people. You're likely to talk with the same people on a regular basis. You're likely to watch the same shows. You're likely to hear the same news because you're so similar. And because you're so similar, those connections, although they're strong, they're valuable, they help you, you need that. they can limit you in a way because it stops you from getting diverse views and getting connected to people that are outside of your network. And the truth is, the connections that you have with people outside of your network are more likely to change your life, which is why I set up a social media page on Facebook years ago, and everyone on Facebook probably knows me because of the Smoking Prophet, because that's how they were seeing me show up. But when I post on Facebook, my content doesn't get a lot of exposure. But when I go and post on Pinterest in front of these people that don't know me, you hear me?
Yep.
And these people with such a diverse network, my content is getting shared with on more boards that are way more diverse than I am. Like some of these boards, like be talking about nothing that I am interested in, but it gets in front of all of these diverse people and this information is spreading. So stop looking for people that you have helped to help you. Stop trying to show up in front of the people that have ignored you, and start allowing yourself to see the opportunities that are around you, because those opportunities, even though they're not strong yet, they could lead to some very life-changing stuff for you. Like in the example I just read from that book, where this author, this doctor, this teacher got a box of books by accident sent to her home. She connected with the editor. They developed a light relationship. You hear me? She decided she wanted to write a book. She wrote a book, asked the woman to give her impressions. The lady said, I love it, and then connected her to someone that published her book. You know, allow yourself to see opportunities around you that can lead to connections like that, lead to that life-changing stuff. Or like me, where I said, okay, I don't see any of my peers. I don't see people that that I know over on Pinterest using it as a tool, you know, to spread their message to the world. But I'm going to do it. You know, I'm not going to allow what I see to stop me. And I'm definitely not going to try to show up on Facebook when people there don't pay me any attention.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Unless I've decided, okay, this is one of my goals and I have a clear strategy for it, and then I do it. But other than that, no. Like where I show up on Facebook is in my private Facebook group, and I did that for a reason. And the reason that I did that is because I give lots of valuable content. I give more than I need to be honest. And I did not want to cast my pearls to pigs. Hello, scripture. Come on.
Story.
I did not want to cast my pearls to pigs. Marguerite, I will definitely check that. I did not want to cast my pearls to pigs. So I created a Facebook group, and I have a series of questions that people have to answer before they come in there. Because if you want what I have, you have to see it as valuable enough to join my group, to join my email list, to follow my podcast, and to listen on the channels that I put it out through. If you don't think that what I have is valuable enough to do that, then you don't need it. And I don't have to apologize for that. I see what I have is valuable. And I hope that you feel the same about whatever you're producing and putting out in the world. Okay? Make yourself accessible. But at some point, you've got to learn when accessibility needs to stop and people need to see you as a valuable investment. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I feel like preaching. I'm just playing. Okay. Marguerite, I'm going to check my email, or you want to do that?
I can check the inbox.
Because to be honest with you, I don't really feel that great. I know it doesn't sound like I don't feel bad, but I don't feel that great. So I have my husband check it between today and tomorrow, and we'll hopefully respond back no later than Wednesday.
That sounds good.
Yeah, no later than Wednesday. And I got to check my inbox because someone else messaged me and asked me to check too. But you got anything else to say?
It's just kind of
Latanya Smith said you better preach. I don't have no preach voice. I remember
you don't need to have a preach voice.
I don't. I remember I started, so this is another little thing about me. I started seminary school when I was probably about 18, and I think I was the youngest one there, either 18 or 19. I was the youngest one there, and I always felt out of place because I'm like, I have no intentions on preaching.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just really enjoy learning about things. And right now, I really enjoy learning about God and, you know, the Bible and His Word and all of that stuff. But yeah, and then my leader was like, "Hey, you know, you need to get this, and you need to have like the minister stuff, and for where you're going, you'll need that." And I'm like, "Ain't nobody doing that." What you talking about, lady? What you talking about? Okay, Marguerite, I'm gonna actually look at it now. I'm gonna pull it up while I'm on the phone. Babe, you got anything else? Anybody got any questions? We are done.
Yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, I am done only because I was enjoying Lola and her sermon.
It's an inspirational message. I'm so sorry. That was so
you was speaking
long ago you sent me that.
Yeah, but does anyone have any questions or anything that we can answer for you guys? Oh, thank you, Marguerite. She said there's a win on everything you're saying. She needed this.
Yeah. Good. Brenda G said no questions. I love Brenda G. Brenda G. And I'm sorry I got tongue tied because I was looking at Latanya C's comment. Come on with those 2 French braids. Yes. I was like, Granny, like, can you please hook me up? Because when I don't feel good, I lay down and it's kind of like the same thing, and I don't need my hair being out because it'll get real curly, and then I'll have to go and detangle, and it just
it's a process.
Like, after days of you just laying on your hair, like it's not a good experience. So I'm like, let me prepare for it now. I feel myself getting to the point of where I'll be down for a few days, so let me just get it together. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, a little anecdote since we're talking about hair, and me not having a lot of experience having hair that's longer than, well, a shortcut. So Lola had to detangle my hair one day, and can I just say that was the worst experience ever. She pulled, she yanked. I was over here about to cry, like, stop it, I can't do it. So women who deal with this on a regular basis, you guys are troopers, because
women and children
because I was crying like a little punk, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Stop, just get away from me.
Yeah, but you're good now, and you do it yourself. And it's so funny because when you first started growing your hair out, one of your reservations was, I don't want to have to do it myself. But now, like, no, like, because for the past 2 days you brush your hair into a ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell him you got a ponytail?
No, I got a ponytail.
You got a ponytail. At first I was like, man, I can't wait till it's long enough for you to have a man bun. And so we did that, and then you got it cut by a bad barber, and he cut too much off. But now, like, you can actually pull it back into a back ponytail. Yes. So it's nice. And you're doing it all by yourself.
I know, right?
Like, he's getting up and brushing his hair and pulling in his ponytail. And I'm like, look at him. He looks so adorable.
Adorable? That's the word you give me?
Yeah. You remember I used to use that word all the time.
I know. We had to make that one of your, a random story. You want to tell?
You can tell them.
Okay.
No, so I'm glad you remember what it was like when we first got together.
Yeah. So when me and Lola first started talking, we both had go-to words that we would always use. Hers was adorable and mine was interesting. So
no, yours and touche.
Oh, touche.
You don't remember touche?
I do remember touche. Mm-hmm. You see, sometimes I say it randomly. You better know it. But what we did, just to because we started realizing we used those words way too much to the point it was annoying, we started making a jar. And anytime that we said one of our go-to words, we had to put a quarter in. We ended up adding that thing up that first year. It was like $40 in there.
Really? Yeah. I didn't even count the money.
I was just like, yeah, oh God, let me just throw this in
all
there.
All of that. Touche. And I think I stopped saying adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, man, ain't nobody going to be there. But it worked out because we were using that money for us. So yeah. It worked out anyways. Yeah. Why are you smiling at me?
I forgot about that story. It's cute.
It's good to go back and remember some of them things, right?
It is.
Yeah. Now stop smiling at me like you want to give me kisses.
I probably plan to as soon as we get this broadcast.
Stop being gross. Okay, so Val, we love you, fam. Val said, thanks, guys. Really enjoyed your wisdom. Val, we gotta start our garden. I think, when are we supposed to start it? Late April.
It was late April. I thought it was earlier.
Late April. But I wanted to do a strawberry patch. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I talked to Val about gardening before. Okay. But I wanted to do a strawberry patch, but my grandmother said like we should have already had our strawberries out for that. And I was like, I always miss it because I remember when I was a kid
having them.
Yeah, they had a strawberry patch for me. It was a little plot. It was for me. It was all for me because I love strawberries, Dante. I would eat them all up. How about let's laughing? Okay. All right. Well, we love you guys. We really hope that this bless you and really just encourage you. So I'm just gonna recap. Take this final thought away. Stop wasting your energy looking for people that you have helped to help you. If they choose to help you, that's fine, but don't expect it. Okay? Don't look for it. Don't say, I did this for Dante. Dante is going to show up for me. Dante may not have the capacity to show up for you. Dante may not have those connections that you need. Also, don't say, I am doing this because I want this person to see me that ignored me. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Show up in the places God wants you to show up and in the way God wants you to show up. And He will put His weight behind your work.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, Val said, do our strawberries in a raised bed. Thank you so much. And please share. Please, grace and peace, Selma Z. Owens. I'm glad Brenda G shared it. I love her. She's amazing. And yeah, we'll definitely do a raised bed. I was even thinking about like we have some really big black planters. They're these huge tubs. I thought about that doing it too because I don't want to be bending over on the ground to get the strawberries out.
Because that will work. And then I got some time to tilt, so that works. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so we're excited.
Thank you, Val. That's a good idea.
We'll probably share pictures somewhere along the way. All right, go ahead and close this out, babe, because I'm done talking.
Okay. Well, in that case, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for your comments. Thank you guys for always just being a part of this community. It's wonderful that we've gotten to interact with you guys, and thank you for listening.
Yep, we love y'all. Bye.
Bye.